Hello and welcome to Tell Me Rune, or Tell Me Are You Not Entertained for the 5th episode? 5th?
Already on 5?
Yeah, we're already on 5.
Jesus.
So this week, for sure, we have video and audio, and we're only going to an hour at most after what happened last week. Oh my gosh, I worked on the podcast every night for like 5 days in a row just to get it up on iTunes and YouTube and all that other stuff. So this week, much smoother. We're going to go much better. I'm your co-host, Andrew.
And I'm your other co-host, Leilani.
All right, let's just jump into it. Do you want to take the reins for our first?
For Jon Benet?
Casting JonBenet.
Excuse me. Casting JonBenet. With that, they made a Netflix. Is that a documentary? Because how it was shot, it didn't feel like one. It was...
I mean, it's like a true crime documentary, I would say.
Because, I mean, it was like a take of... They're actually casting actors, and they're giving their take on how the crime kind of developed and then the background of it. Sorry, did you just... I don't even know what to call that move.
I mean, I'm just acknowledging the people maybe watching YouTube. Give them an incentive to watch YouTube, watch us talk in this cool little coffee bar that we're at.
Anyways, so I liked it just because of the different take of it, asking different people's opinions about what happened, especially those that were in the Colorado area when it happened. But then there were some other people who did their scenarios and how it went down, and I totally disagree with it completely. So I didn't know how much you knew about Jon Benet when you watched it.
I'll just say right now, I don't know too much. Like, I knew there was an anniversary. I watched a Dateline about it. I don't need these glasses anymore. I watched a Dateline about it with my mom. My mom filled me in about it. But I mean, for those of you listening that don't know about the JonBenet Ramsey case, it's about a girl who was in Colorado. She was a pageant queen and whatnot. And then December 26th, she was found dead in her house. There was a ransom note. It's infamous for how bad the police officers of the case. Well, it's famous for how crazy it is, I think, because they haven't found the murderer. They really have no leads. The police at Boulder, I guess, never dealt with the murder. So they went into the house, they cleaned dishes, they let people come walking through the crime scene, and then it was just like, oh, well, we can't figure out who did it. It's like, no duh. So now this Netflix came out with a true crime documentary called Casting JonBenet, and it's basically way different than any other true crime doc that you'll ever see, just for how many people that they put into the documentary. And basically everybody's just throwing out their weird theories about who they think did it and what's going on, and it can be a little confusing. But still, to this day, nobody really knows what happens.
Oh, nobody really knows, but still, from all the shows that I watch, on ID and all this other stuff, I have my own theory, which most of the theories point to is the brother did it, and it just makes total sense. And it could have gone a whole different way if they actually tried the brother, because of the statute of limitations, and also for his age, he would have got off scot-free. So I think it was at the age of 12 or something like that. If you have to be 12 or older to actually get prosecuted. Since he was under 12, he would have never got prosecuted. It would have been fine. So, and I just feel as though the parents just covered it up. Bottom line. And because that was their only son, and then the father already lost another child. So that's my take on it. But again, as you pointed out, the Colorado police did a hack job because they never had a murder of that caliber before. So they just screwed up from top to bottom. And there was a lot of politics that was going on behind the scenes because of who the Ramseys were.
Yeah, that's true. Just to give you a taste of how many theories there were. I mean, in the documentary, they talked about the dad doing it, the mom doing it, writing the ransom note. Apparently, the ransom note was somewhat in her handwriting. It's 3 pages long. I mean,
it's so in her handwriting.
The dad finds her in the basement or wherever she is. I mean, she's in the basement wrapped in her own blanket. At one point, they think Santa Claus did it because they had a Christmas party the night before or something, and Santa was just alone in her room with her. And then everybody some people brought up the brother doing it. I don't know why it sounded like I was about to cry there.
Yeah, I know. I was like, are you getting emotional?
I don't know.
The brother did it?
I only saw him once on Dr. Phil, but I mean that he did it with the flashlight, and they show it. It's pretty crazy in the documentary where they show they all get little boys that are roughly his age at that time, and then they give him a replica of the flashlight, and they just start smashing at a watermelon. And I mean that one got me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
That's because that lady was like, oh no, he didn't have the strength to do it. Actually, yes, you can. With how heavy that flashlight is, just one hit, it would have crushed her skull. And they've already proved that on another case file where they actually took a skull and they had a child hit it, and the indentation of the flashlight could have been inside the skull. So.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And like we mentioned earlier, I mean, this is way different than any true crime documentary you'll watch because, I mean, yeah, they'll have reenactments and whatnot, but they get like 8 different people to play the mom, 8 different people to play the dad. They give their own, like these people are somehow like related to the case. So like in a weird way, and they'll start like spouting off their own names and they'll just say whatever it is. And like at one point you'll be like, what is this guy doing here? Like the sex guy.
Which one, Carr?
When he was the guy who was talking for the sheriff part, and he had to answer his phone, and he had to answer the phone in the middle of it. You're just like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm a sex expert, and you're just like, what? Why does he have to do it? And then later down the line, he mentions something, and it's like, okay, well, his expertise was needed for this part.
Yeah. But he was kind of weird. He weirded me out.
Yeah, he did. But everybody had a part in it. There was a reason for them, which at the end you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's why. And then the ending shot was just,
that was amazing. That
one was killer. I was like, oh my gosh, that blew my mind. I was like, for all that documentary, that just like, I mean, again, it's an unsolved mystery. So this documentary isn't like shedding any new light onto the case. They're not like giving you their own opinion on what happened. Like this isn't like that O.J. Simpson case where it's like, oh, the son helped him out, and then all of a sudden like, oh, I've been researching this for 17 years and the son definitely did it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the son didn't do it, and then the guy's like going nuts on him. Like this is just like, this kind of just like giving out some information of what's going on.
Well, I mean, majority of them, they did basically give their take on it, but a majority of that is what everybody thought of, like the different scenarios. Some of them I've never heard before, and I'm like, that's totally left field, and no. Because especially with the father doing some stuff to Jon Benet, that one, they really didn't touch base on that whatsoever as far as within the case. And then that's why Patsy went crazy and decided to just start swinging. So, yeah, some of it seemed really far-fetched. And I was just like, are you just saying this to say this during the documentary? Because this is horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was there was one part where the guy was like, any theory is plausible or sounds ridiculous. And I mean, as the thing goes on, as the Netflix doc goes on, you're just like, oh, that sounds stupid. And then all of a sudden, like, you keep going and you're like, oh, but does it really? Like, I mean, there's tons of theories out there. Like, anything could happen. I don't know. Even a mesh of like a couple of them, you never know. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't like. I was with that one woman who was like, "Oh yeah," and she was turning 40 that year, so she had a spite against her daughter, and when she wet the bed, she just went off after her. It's like, and then the one woman's like, I hate people that say that it's because she was turning 40. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It just, that one seemed the most ridiculous to me.
Well, and then some of them that actually shared their personal bouts with like abuse and everything else. And this one lady, I swear every time they talked to her, something bad happened to her. And I was like, you need a hug or something, because I feel really, really bad for you about the abuse that you took and all that. And so it kind of spans off to not only what happened within the case, but what other people dealt with and how they went ahead and got out of it or whatever the case may be. But some of that stuff, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, I don't know if I would say that during an audition at all.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, if these people were either directly or indirectly attached to this case, like one woman was like, "Oh, I read all the books," and she knew that to wear pearls. The one guy lived in Boulder and actually went to the funeral for the family, and then just other people gave their expertise indirectly by, like, the guy who said he lost his spouse. And then there was a woman that was molested as a child. So I mean, they gave their expertise in that way. And but yeah, I mean, it was just way different, and it's just really sad to hear. Like, and I'm not gonna. The one thing that stood out to me was I've never heard when the guy came out and said that he killed her, and then he got let go. I mean, I think it's one of those things where I've only heard like Dateline or specials about it, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, he said it, and then he was let go, so let's just move past it. Like, it's just a dead end anyways. Why would we mention it? So when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard that point. So
dude, that guy is just creepy. Like, because they showed his version of it in different docs and all that, and about how he came out and said he did it, but he really didn't do it. It just seems like he wanted his 15 minutes of fame. But they interviewed him for the anniversary, and he's still creepy to this day. And then he even said that he castrated himself, so because of the thoughts that he had, because he was doing stuff to little boys in Thailand when he moved over there. And so he said to make the demon stop, he castrated himself. So he's good now, from what he said.
I mean, I guess that's the best case sscenario, right?
I guess.
I mean,
I guess so.
if you're gonna do something, do it to yourself, not scarring other people with it. Ugh.
He's still cray.
Yeah.
From the interview, something's still wrong.
Well, you don't confess to a crime that's heinous and then that crazy just doesn't turn off. It's not like, oh, no, I'm fine today. When you just walk away and you're reading a book at Barnes and Noble. Like, no, that just doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen. It takes years of therapy, and even that doesn't probably help.
Maybe.
It helps for a little bit. It makes the voices stop. Stop the voices. Stop it.
Well, obviously, after he cut everything off, voices stopped.
I don't know about that. I still think there are voices. You just can't do anything about it at the moment, which I don't even want to think about him. But the guy who portrayed him in the doc was super creepy. Yeah.
When I saw him, I'm like, you are him. Like, he channeled him to the T. Because if you watch interviews about Carr, his mannerisms and everything, that's exactly how he sat. That's exactly how he sounded. I was impressed.
I hate to say it, but he was born to play that role. The other guy that was just there, I think he was just there just to say a few words.
He was just like sitting like this and just reading the lines. I'm like, are you wanting this part? Or are you just the only two that tried out?
I think it's because they had multiple people for everything.
Yeah.
So they were getting a dual like perspective on every aspect. So when that guy came in, I feel like they needed another guy because everybody else had like 4 to 5 other people playing them, whereas this guy is just like 2 people. So I think the one guy definitely had it, and then they just had the perspective from this other one. So
Yeah, because when they showed that one, I'm like, well, I mean, besides the part that he does not look anything like him, I'm like, he just sounds like he's sitting in a jail cell and just reading off a piece of paper, while the other guy, he was sitting still like him and talking like him, and I'm like, this part has consumed you and you're freaking me out.
what freaked me out was his preparation for the thing. He said he like watched old pageant videos of Jon Benet, and I was like, don't get yourself in trouble getting this small role in casting Jon Benet.
Right?
Like, please don't. You're doing a great job right now, but don't do it, man. Don't do anything wrong.
I think he took method acting to a whole new level with that, because I know a lot of people, when they method act, they go to that dark place, but sometimes they can't get out of it.
My dark passenger.
What?
That's a Dexter reference.
Oh.
No, my dark passengers talked to me. It was his stepdad who taught him how to kill. Spoiler alert, whoever never watched Dexter.
Wow.
It's all on Netflix. It's not even a spoiler. It's you find out in like the first episode of like the first 5 minutes. He brings donuts to people. Oh, spoiler. But this show made me realize how much I missed Unsolved Mysteries. Did you ever watch that show?
Yes.
That's all I wanted.
I was just agreeing with you, and you're like, that's it. That's all I want to say.
You were gonna say something else.
No. I was excited that you brought that up because I remember watching that as a kid.
Yeah, I loved that show. I used to watch Lifetime as a young little kid in summer, and during the summer, it would switch off between The Nanny and Golden Girls. Like
Oh my god.
every half an hour, it would change between the two, and then all of a sudden, at noon, 11 and noon, they would play an hour of Unsolved Mysteries. And I would get freaked out at 11 and noon while I was eating like a ham sandwich or something. Like,
I think my favorite one of that one, sorry, I'm going off topic, but I have to say this one because this is one of my favorite ones that sticks out. It's still there to this day, because every time I want to go to California, I want to go to it. It's a toy store, Toys R Us, that's haunted because it was supposedly built on an Indian burial ground where everybody else is, everything's buried, built upon that. But there's like toys that still move. I think they even had to do a seance because people were getting attacked by toys at one point.
was it like Jeffrey the giraffe is like haunting you? Like, ooh.
I think bikes went off racks. Things were being spilled in the aisles, like creepy things, and then in the middle of the night it would get worse. And supposedly, I think it was this dude. He liked this chick back in like 1920s or whatever, and what was it? She basically said, "I didn't like you," blah 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 blah. And then somehow I think his neck got cut. This is a horrible story. And he was crying out for her. She didn't hear him. He bled to death. So I think he haunted the Toys R Us from then on, trying to get to the girl that he likes.
Sheesh.
And again, that was a horrible rendition of what happened. But that was one of the stories on Unsolved Mysteries that has always stuck out to me.
Oh my gosh, there's so many that I used to watch, and it was such a good show. This is the problem I think with kid shows nowadays. They don't have anything on TV to scare them. And I think, and that builds character as much as like the comedy and all this other stuff. I get it. You're supposed to laugh and love life and all this other stuff. But I mean, back in the day, there was Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and Unsolved Mysteries. Like, and that shaped me in some degree as much as comedy or like a Jim Carrey movie or something like shaped me and whatnot. And I mean, we don't even have kid shows that make the kids think anymore. Like, you watch these like Liv and Maddie or whatever. It's like, oh, what are we gonna do now? It's like kids don't even have to think about it. They're just like, oh, in 5 minutes after the commercials, I'll see what happens. Whereas you have shows like Netflix, Lemony Snicket, which is really, really good. Like, my niece and nephew could not stop watching it because they were just like, oh, I know what's happening next. And I'm like, do you? And then they'll watch the 2 more episodes and they're like, wow, didn't see that coming at all. Like, how are they going to do this and how are they going to do that? And there's little things that you'll see little things that won't make sense at the moment. And then they'll keep referencing it throughout the thing. And it's just like, I was like, this is what kid shows used to be, or I used to love these kind of shows. And it's just like, not anymore. But I mean, to get back to, I mean, we're on Netflix, but to get back to JonBenet and how unsolved her crime is. I mean, this, what is it? Is it like the 30th year anniversary or?
Oh God, what is it? No, I think it's been 20.
20?
19. No. It was. Yeah, because 1996. December 26, 1996. Because I remember that one lady was like, all these numbers. It was 6 and then 6 and then 6.
Yeah, you got those conspiracy theories. I like the number 23 with Jim Carrey.
Oh my God, that was a good movie though.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
It was not at all. Don't even lie to yourself. It was not a good movie. You're just like, oh my gosh. The only thing that I got out of that movie was when you're bored, trying to make numbers fit to 23 or 6. Or, like, I still don't know how he got pink to equal 23. Like,
oh my God, how did he do that?
Who cares? It's so bad.
I know, but I kind of like how he did all the numbers and all that. And, I mean, you have to really think about that.
He's like Rain Man, just terrible. Rain Man with the only number 23. Like, come on. Oh, it equals 5, and 5 is 2 plus 3. And it's like, some of those were just like reaching. You're like, all right, we get it. Like, I had 2 pieces of bread with 3 pieces of ham. That's 23. And it's like, no, let's not make this anything more than it is. It's bad. Let's just say that. But yeah, and there's no, I'm sure there's still people that are like obsessed with this case who are making it their life journey to figure out what really happened. And I mean, I hate to say it, we're not even close to really figuring it all out. Like, there's no solid evidence in a courtroom. Like, people can be like, oh, it's definitely this person or definitely this person, but we don't have like set evidence and set proof that we can be like, it was definitely this person. And it's all because the pineapple bowl was washed. Nobody definitely knows what the ransom and who did what really happened to her the night of, who was doing this, who was doing that. And it's like,
but with some of the testing that they've done, especially with technology being more and more advanced, there's little clues here and there that kind of adds up more. That's why I feel as though the brother did it, just because of all the new testing that they've done. So, I mean, again, I still think it's the brother.
I mean, when I watched him on Dr. Phil, there was definitely something up with him, but I mean, that's pretty dramatic. And then it really sticks with you. So it's like, you sit there and go like, oh, he's so weird. He must have something to do with it. And then you're just like, and then I'm like, oh, but I mean, if I grew up like that, I think I would have something wrong with me too. So
But
I don't know.
I didn't think he was weird at all. It just seemed like when people have like a nervous tick and people were going off about him, about laughing about the situation or laughing here and there. I'm like, he looks nervous. He hasn't talked about this in how many years? And people are bringing this up yet again. So, of course, he's going to be nervous. So, I just feel as though they're trying to pinpoint little things on him. I mean, again, you have to think about it, his age, what happened. It could have well been an accident, but I think they wanted to hear from his mouth he did it, so they're just trying to push him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel bad because I do feel like they are pushing him to do it, and I mean, I watch Dr. Phil nowadays, and it's nothing like it was even 2 years ago. Like, I mean, he had the Cash Me Outside girl on again. He had Shelley Duvall on there.
That was
and it didn't seem like you watch some of this stuff and you're just like, why are you having these people on? Like, are you even trying to help them, or is this because it seems like it's becoming like a Jerry Springer or Maury Povich, where it's just like, oh, here's adult family troubles, like, and then it's like, oh, you better tune in, like. And the weird thing that he does is that he does like one episode for a full week, and then he won't do the second part for a long time. So it's like, oh, part 2 will come out in 2 weeks. Good luck watching it. And I'm just like, I will never see whatever happened to this family. And it's probably not even good. Like, all these families are set in their ways and stuff. And I mean, one of the families was like, the mom married a guy from South Africa, and he was like really stern in the way he parented, but he never had any kids of his own, and she already had a daughter that was like in high school. And apparently, like, the stepdad was always like, oh, clean your room, do this, do that, do this, do that. And the daughter was just being like a high school like girl, but she was like maybe like doing stuff that wasn't necessarily the best thing. Like, she was like lying, staying out later or whatever. And so he would tell his wife, you have to take away the iPad from her. And then like she would, and then like the next afternoon she would have the iPad again. And the stepdad was like, oh, she's just letting her walk all over us, and it's either her or me. And I'm just like, you guys are fighting over a girl having an iPad right now? Like, seriously? I had to turn it off. I watched both confessionals, and then I was just like, I can't do it. This is not even serious anymore. Like, come on, Dr. Phil. Like, you're gonna get up there and just be like, oh, just take away all iPads. Like, what are you gonna do? It's like, who are you gonna yell at in this situation? Both people are terrible and wrong and childish, and I don't think anybody should be in a stinking relationship like this. And the mom, the dude's mom was like living with them too, and she hated the little girl as well. And it's like, first of all, no, you don't make the mom choose between her daughter or you.
Yeah.
Because the mom even said, I'm going to choose my daughter every time. And I'm like, yeah, that's, as a good mother, that's what's going to happen. So it's not even real anymore. So I'm just like, whatever.
It's all reactionary. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's like supposed to be shocking, but nowadays nothing shocks anybody anymore. But yeah, we still don't know. I may have had a theory that it was the brother before watching Casting JonBenet. Now with everybody's theories and so many no proof or evidence, I'm just like, this one. And the mom died too, and that's sad. And
Have cancer,
yeah, and it's just like, I don't think we're ever going to get an answer, and I don't know.
Well, I think there's always going to be like a nostalgia around it because it's not solved. And I have to admit, and hopefully nobody thinks I'm weird, but I've been to the house, so I know they've redone everything there.
Do they have pineapple there?
In the back, yeah. You just go up. They have soft serve ice cream. You can have it with pineapple if you want. Outside. And then I've also been to Jon Ramsey's grave because we were in Atlanta because that's where she was buried with her mom, and it was really, really sweet because they still put angels in the tree right next to the grave for her. So, and again, it's just, I guess, weird people like me that are kind of obsessed with the case because it's saddening to hear about a little girl dying, but for the fact that it's still unsolvable.
Yeah, but I mean, as a society, like, we're weirdly obsessed with like murder and everything. I mean, Dateline's still a show that thrives on murders, 48 hours, 48-hour mystery. I mean, Unsolved Mysteries was a show that went on forever. So I mean, we are just we don't know what it is, but it's like we're very obsessed. And there's people that are obsessed with all different types of murders. Like there's one that will just speak to somebody and they'll be like, I have to devote my life to figure out what happened to this or why this person was thinking this way. Or, I mean, there's a ton of people that still read and research the Charles Manson case and all this other stuff. So you're just like, why read all about that? Like, that's so crazy. But to some people, that makes them feel good. And speaking of feel good, Gorillaz came out with a new album just very recently, April 28th. I think they released it April 28th, and it's fittingly called Humanz. And you can go check it out right now on Spotify, or you can buy it wherever they sell CDs anymore. I don't even know where they sell CDs. I mean, if you go to Best Buy, it's all jumbled there. They just throw CDs like on a shelf and a half. Like nowadays, Target has a little bit more variety, but then again, they don't ever keep it stocked or anything. So I'm like, I remember looking for a CD. I think I was looking for La La Land, and it wasn't there. They had a whole bunch of crap, and then no La La Land. And then finally, when I went like 2 weeks ago, they had La La Land, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pay for it now. Like, no, thank you. But Humanz came out. We both listened to the whole album, or I did, while doing other things. So what was your initial thought? I mean, this is their first album in years, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many to be exact, but
And that's the thing. I'm not like a diehard fan of Gorillaz. Like, of course, they're singles, and I was really intrigued by their music videos because of the artwork, and that's the one thing that got me into it because of the artwork. But as far as the album in a whole, it is very different, in my opinion, because I've heard the other fans. I guess it may be too different for them, or the direction that they're going, they don't like. But it seems like a long album, because at one point I'm like, am I almost done with this album? I've been listening to it for a very long time. So I listened to it this morning during work, and I was doing other things too, and certain songs caught my ear. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to that one. But then I was like, there's so many songs, and I'm like, I don't remember which song that was, because there's a lot. So, but it's one of those things when you listen to an album, you kind of feel like there's a theme to it. But this one doesn't seem like there's a theme whatsoever.
yeah, I have an article here from High Snob Beatty. I don't know what they're going for. High Snob. It's supposed to be society.
Yeah.
But they put snob instead of
Snobbacy?
Snobiety. That's what it looks like. High snobiety.
Okay.
Whatever. They said that there was their last album was 6 years ago. Their last full length album. They say that there's overall it's a fun ride of an LP. Humanz is, but it is both staggeringly dense and highly uneven. Which, I mean, I'll give it to them. The one thing I did like about Gorillaz is that they never really had a specific sound. Like, they dabbled in everything, and you were just okay with it because they actually made decent sounding songs. Like, they have rapping in it with the nice hook and chorus that you love to sing, and it gets stuck in your head forever. They have EDM almost kind of songs where they just have the same beat going over and over again, and then some guy just saying the same word over and over again. You're just like, cool, I can deal with this song too. So I mean, when I listened to this album, I was like, yeah, there's parts where it sounds like Gorillaz, and then other parts where it it sounds like other people could be doing it, but I mean, that's almost the same thing as Gorillaz. So, but it is an album that I feel more comfortable doing other things when listening to it than just sitting down and being like, yeah, I'm going to listen to Gorillaz, and then just listening directly to that album.
I'm one of those people that it's, to me, if the album's good, it's hard to do other things with it, that I have to like actually engulf myself into the music. Especially, that's why I love driving, because I can put on certain tunes, and this is probably not a good thing, that I can just kind of space out. And so if I hear like an album kind of like Gorillaz, where I can have it as background noise, it's good, but it's not at the caliber where it's like I will listen to it all the time.
Yeah, just make sure you're tweeting out when you're going to go driving, so we can all just stay home. If you're going to space out, just saying.
Whatever.
But I agree. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like you. I'm more of a social Gorillaz fan, where I'm not like the hardcore. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Gorillaz is that unique band when like we were growing up, where it's just like they're drawn. First of all, like that's like a cartoon coming to life. Like who does that? And then they're actually like a real band, though. It's not like, oh, this is a kid show band or whatever. And they actually make good music, and they have those really good songs like Feel Good Inc., Clint Eastwood, one of my favorites of all time, and a lot of other really good songs that a lot of people don't even know that are Gorillaz. And you're just like, this is fantastic. And I mean, not everything's a home run, but yeah, it's just one of those bands where it's like, yeah, they have to put a lot of production into their music videos, their live gigs, just drawing themselves and whatnot, and then putting it into the music. You're just like, how much work can they put into this? And the reality is they put a lot of work into it. Whereas some people just are like, oh, we're gonna make a band and we're just gonna write music. I mean, they do above and beyond, and some of those music videos are super, super like iconic. Feel Good Inc. again. I really like Clint Eastwood's music video. I mean, it just takes a whole new different thing. I mean, the ghost rapping that he comes out of the black guy drumming, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that is so perfect, because the guy never speaks or anything. You're just like, I don't know. That was always cool to me.
Yeah. I just the forethought with this band, like the expectations of it is just so high compared to other bands where you see them shoot just a music video of them and they have a backdrop and that's about it, versus someone who's actually going out and drawing this, and just the marketing for this band is ridiculous.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I always watched how Bob's Burgers and Archer and everything gets made, and how much effort and how many people are put into that. I mean, that's just a music video.
Exactly.
Like, and some of it, they do 3D work. They do different styles within the actual music video. So it's like, oh, we have to have 2D artists for this. Oh, but in this scene, like they have to do storyboards. I was just watching the new music video. We were just watching the new music video, the Saturn's Bars or whatever. And I mean, that's just intense with the changing of position of just going to 2D. The house is 3D, everybody else is 2D, going through everything. And then they start the song on the turntable and the camera's on the turntable. And I mean,
That was awesome.
I mean, it's insane how visually appealing everything is. And then all the other music videos that they put on there for, just for like Ascension and Andromeda with the planet. I mean, it's just visually pleasing, and you're just like, this makes me feel just so mellow, just watching this planet turn colors with debris slowly moving. Like, and people don't understand that takes a lot of work. Like, I went to the comic museum when it was open in West Palm Beach with my dad, and this woman, she asked me, but she basically told me, she was like, do you know how many pages it takes for a person to draw and to create one movement? And it's 24. It takes 24 drawings to make a one complete movement. to make it smooth and look. Yeah, I thought she said how many hours it takes.
Yeah.
And I just said 24. Like, I was like, I don't know, just 24. And she was like, yeah, you're right, 24. It takes 24 drawing. I was like, oh, that's what you asked me. I would have never guessed that. But, I mean, to think that, and then how many times it moves or whatever, I mean, I'm sure they have I'm sure they don't have, like, 20 people actually drawing it. They have I mean, South Park isn't just cut up construction paper anymore. So, I mean, the way that they put so much into it. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm social Gorillaz. I like a lot of their songs. Again, this is a great song to do other things to, because I was editing and like you just get lost in it. I mean, there's a lot of songs that just are trance and just keep on saying it. You'll have the guy that raps over it for a little bit and then they'll keep going back into it, and then you'll just have the 20-second interlude of some guy, like, he sounds like the guy from Thriller.
Which that can't be possible.
It's definitely not him, but he sounds like him. I don't know if it's like Murdoch's voice or something. And he just is like, he says something creepy for like 20 seconds, and then he is off, and then they go into another song. So I got lost. I edited a video for I don't even know how long I edited the video for, but I started from track 1 and I got down to 21 before I stopped. And I was just like, I didn't even know I listened to it for that long. Like, you just get lost.
21
There's 26. But I got to 1 to 21. And when I think I was writing the visual recreation script for this week. And by the time I was done, I was like, how long have I been doing this? And it was like, I was on track 21. And I was just like, sheesh. So, but yeah, I think it was good. I mean, I don't have any, like I said, I just think it's different because we're going to talk about Linkin Park and how much they've changed in later episodes. And then you see Paramore came out with a new single, and people on the YouTube comments was like, oh, this is how Paramore and Fall Out Boy have been able to survive, and it's because they keep evolving. Whereas we look at Linkin Park and we're like, can you stop evolving too much in between albums? Because it seems like they're just jumping. Like, you know how a kid like runs down the steps and whatnot, and sometimes they'll skip a step. It's like Linkin Park is like at the top of the steps, like jumping and skipping 5 steps between albums, and you're just like, all right, can we slow down? Like, so I mean, with Gorillaz, they, like we mentioned earlier, they don't have like a specific sound. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know how you can be like, oh, I'm disappointed with this. I feel like it's just, I don't know.
I guess with the fans, since we're not like diehard fans or whatnot, and specifically follow them, so I think that's why we can kind of step outside the box and be like, oh, artistically, this is really cool, especially the fact that they're bringing back a dying art of interludes, which I used to love interludes all the time on CDs, especially TLC, best interludes ever. But I don't know, it just, with me, because they have such, like you said, a unique sound, where they don't even have a specific sound, you can appreciate it. So I think an album in a whole, it was really good.
Can I just say, for the interludes, Eminem has some of the most outrageous and just like, it takes you out of whatever you're doing. I used to listen to Eminem. I would go in between CDs when I used to work out, and I would just pick an album and listen to it for a full month. And I went through like 3 different Eminem tracks, and like, I'm in the middle of doing something, I'm listening to a good song, and then all of a sudden I get to an interlude, and he's just like, somebody's getting shot, and then he's running away, and I'm just like, this is really taking me out of what's going on.
That's my favorite one, where he's robbing a bank. She's like, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Just put the money in the bank. And then he winds up shooting her. Thank you. It's off.
Yeah, and then the other ones is like, he's like kidnapping a woman, and then he like puts her in the trunk and then drives away. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Can you just get to the song with Dido? Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, everybody has those diehard fans that are like, oh, you changed for the money. But I think there's a lot of people that just want to hate on something in life, and it's just like everything they have to find something wrong with it. Like,
Yeah.
I hate to bring it up because we talked about it last week, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I went and for research for the YouTube video that we shot today, I went to Rotten Tomatoes. It has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and realistically, I went to go look at the bad reviews, quote unquote bad reviews, and a lot of them were just like, there was one that was like, oh, well, Disney, the people were just putting 70s and 80s music to action scenes to try to get you to forget that you're watching a Disney Marvel movie. And I was just like, what? That's why would, well, first of all, why would they want you to not, like, why would they want you to forget that you're watching Disney Marvel? Like, those are the two highest brands right now.
Yeah.
And why would they want you to forget that? And two, that's what the first one did. And like, they just put action scenes, they put Hooked on a Feeling and all this other stuff. Granted, I've seen some of the track lists for the new movie. It's not my favorite. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm still gonna go see it, and I just think people nowadays are just. First of all, I think it was all clickbait, so they can write a bad review and nitpick it, and then be like, "Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, big step down from Guardians 1," and then people are just gonna click on it, and then read half the article, know that they're bullcrapping, and then click off of it, but they still get that click. So I just think there's a lot of people that are just like, I don't like it. It's not Feel Good Inc. And it's like, no, duh. It's not. What, you want Feel Good Inc. too? Like, what? How much? It's incorporated. How big of a company do you want Feel Good to be?
Yeah. No, I agree.
What, are they going to make Scott Eastwood? The son? Remember Clint Eastwood?
No, you need to stop.
Just trying to get that SEO. Maybe Scott Eastwood could get us some more views.
Nice.
But I think if you don't like the album, you can still look at all these music videos and see how much effort they're putting into it. And you're just like, I like that.
Well, yeah. But then again, if you bring it back to, and I hate bashing them because they're my favorite band, Linkin Park, even with their video, and I'm like, for Heavy, I'm like, no, this is still not good. I don't understand.
See, I know they're probably working really hard, but
they are.
But I give the edge to Gorillaz for how much more work they have to put in for all their other videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get it. They have to get the girl that it's featured on the album. They have to come up with an idea. They have to get the shots. They have to put the music into it. But I'm sorry, but if you're animated and you're getting different shots and all this other stuff to an actually good song, I give that way more effort points than Linkin Park taking video of a random field and putting "Good Goodbye" over it with the lyrics. Like, I feel like I could edit that video.
Is that just a lyric video?
Yeah, it's just that's a lyric video.
Okay.
But I feel like,
Like, what?
but it's like, to me, I'm like, what is this? No, song stinks and the official audio stinks. But it is what it is. But I say, if you're interested, listening to Gorillaz, Humanz, you can go on Spotify, and various other. I mean, I don't know too many music spots, but
I mean, then you could probably go on iTunes, buy the album digitally if they can't find it in a tangible good.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
maybe Amazon. You can get it from Amazon, either digitally or physically. You can just have it shipped to yourself. Why not?
Why not just go on the official website, probably buy directly from there?
This episode is not sponsored by Amazon, but why not? Why not buy it from Amazon? It's pretty popular, and why not? Amazon, why not? That's the slogan.
We just want that free membership. That's all.
I want that Amazon money so I can go buy more stuff on Amazon.
Like a pop filter.
Or more pop vinyl figures.
Kind of got crazy with that mute button.
Yeah, I'm just trying to not breathe into it heavily like I did in
I
our
didn't even think about that.
in our cookout video.
Wait, you were heavily breathing?
At one point when Gmo is like hugging everybody. You can hear me going like I'm Mike Myers like videotaping his next victim. I'm just like
I don't understand how your voice carries that well. Like seriously, because when we were testing out the mics, your voice was so loud, so now your breathing's loud.
I don't know. I'm just a nervous person right now.
Obviously.
And you know what gets me nervous? Stranger Things.
I love your segues, by the way.
I'm really trying hard. I'm really trying hard to do well. Stranger Things, Netflix smash hit. Everybody couldn't stop talking about it. I mean, it's still big. Merchandise. I'm sure people are rewatching it, telling everybody about it, rewatching it again. The new one, Stranger Things 2, comes out in October, so make sure to rewatch it yet again. But in the meantime, if you need that Stranger Things itch, there's a new 8-bit game, and I know this isn't new. It's been out, like the article I read said January 30th that it came out, but I just found out about it this week. There's a game called Stranger Games. You can play it for free online at, I think, gooch.ch. I think it's called.
Wait, it's off of what?
Gooch.ch. But it's a real 8-bit game. You can play it on your mouse and keyboard. I don't know if you can play it with a controller. But you play, it's called Stranger Games. You can just search for it, and it'll take you straight to the load page. And you can play as all the favorite characters from Stranger Things.
Wait, even Barb?
I have no idea. I didn't read about Barb, but you can definitely play as Eleven and all those other people.
Some of the main kids.
And you go inside the Upside Down. You play like, they kind of like remastered old games, basically. Like when you play as 11, you're basically playing Frogger. So you're like, you're escaping the big place where they were holding her. Yeah. And to get away, you have to cross a whole bunch of traffic. So you have to you're playing Frogger. At one point, they remastered Pac-Man. So you're as a kid and you have to get around. I have no idea. I only read this. I haven't played it. I'm so sorry. If I had way more time, I would have played it and then came back with a full review. But I think it's a cool idea. I think because of it being from the 80s. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm going through puberty again. My voice just cracked. The 80s.
I think it was about the third time we did this.
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
During the podcast.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I'm definitely cool. But I mean, it's built in the 80s, so this is like an Atari style based Stranger Things game. So I mean, you can watch the series, or you can play the game, or you can do both. Play the game while you're streaming it to your TV, getting hyped up for Stranger Things 2, which personally I don't know what more they could do. I really don't.
I think I didn't read that article. I just saw the title of it, but they said that they're going to do more of a horror type of feel to it for the next season.
That would be great.
Exactly. And I think that kind of touched base with what you said before, where there's a lot of shows that aren't for kids that kind of scare them. And I kind of feel as though Stranger Things kind of is that for this generation.
Yeah, I mean, there's some adult stuff in there where, what was it? The older sister with everything going on with her, and that guy who's now in the Domino's commercials as Ferris Bueller. Yes. Yeah, he's like sitting there going like, I guess he's taking off the day from whatever he's doing, and he's like, on a day like today, why not order Domino's? And while he hits the order thing, he like goes to take a shower. He does the mohawk thing with soap. He does the whole clarinet thing, like Ferris Bueller does, and then he jumps downstairs and the pizza's there, and they have the background music. They also have him where he's like running to get back to his house to beat the Domino's guy there. Which why not just order when you're home? Like, but I mean that was a little bit more adultish than I would want my niece and nephew to see, especially the walk of shame when she leaves the house.
Just those little parts. But again, Unsolved Mysteries, like, didn't they have a little bit of adult theme to it?
I mean, they probably did, but it was on cable TV. Like, they can't show much. Like, they're not, and they're also not, and they're also like, they also tell like 4 different unsolved mysteries within an episode.
Yeah.
So to sit there and be like, oh, we're gonna drag out this like sex scene, they can't really do that. It's like, oh, there's a woman in the middle of the road. Let's focus more on that.
Yeah. But it's not like you. I mean, you're letting the kids watch Deadpool or anything like that. It's not as graphic or anything. She's still clothed.
Yeah, well, there was also kids that were watching Deadpool when I went to go see it in theaters. So
see, and I think also because the generation that we have, they're so kind of, it's the norm of how Deadpool is per se. I mean, so for Stranger Things, what you saw as far as like the somewhat like sex scene or whatever, that's pretty much G, in my opinion, just for this generation.
I don't know. I also think I think it's also parents don't care anymore. I think there's so many young parents out there that are just like, oh, I knocked up my baby mama and now I want to go see Deadpool, but I don't want to pay for a babysitter last minute. We're going Friday night, right when it opens. I'm just gonna take the kid with me. Like on when I went to go see Jurassic World, midnight premiere, Thursday night, 10 o'clock, baby in a stroller, front row. And it's like, why? Why even do this? Why don't you be a half decent parent and just stay home and then call somebody and you can maybe go see it Sunday or whatever. Like there's no like why even do this? I don't know. It's just to me like, and I just don't think younger parents, not saying all of them, but I just think some younger parents are just like, I want to see it and I'll just do this or whatever. And it's like, I get the kids are going to learn it someday, but I mean, come on. Don't bring your baby in a stroller to a midnight premiere and be like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, guess what? And don't rationalize it by saying, oh, the T-Rex roar will drown out the crying. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. You can definitely tell that there's a baby crying, like, in the same theater as you. Like, no. And don't bring your 8-year-old kid and all of his friends to go see Deadpool. There was 5 kids behind me in Deadpool. And the first time him and I can't remember the girl's name. The girl he like hangs out with all the time. I can't remember. Like he stalks her at one point in the movie. Ryan Reynolds' character.
He stalks her.
Yeah, the girl that he just like bangs all the time.
You mean that winds up being his wife?
Yeah, the one from Gotham. Anyways.
I don't know her character.
Yeah, well, they kissed for the first time, and I heard ews right behind me, and I'm like, okay, if your kid is saying ew, he's not gonna like any of the next parts that are coming up, and he's not mature enough to deal with the parts that are coming up.
That's like a crash course in like sex ed.
Yeah, and I even was taking courses in that because I was like, I don't even know any of these moves. What is this? But yeah.
Oh man.
But I just don't understand it. But I think it's just either parents or whatever, kids are watching it without the parents knowing, which is so much easier nowadays. You just kids have iPads, laptops, and all this other stuff. They can just go into the room, lock themselves in there, and then find anything that they want to watch on Netflix. Like a 7-year-old could be watching Orange is the New Black, and their parents or Oz, or whatever, and the parents would never know until, I don't even know when they would know. Or even if they want to know, or even if they care, if they talk to their child and be like, hey, what did you do? What are you watching? Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
I love how our segment from Stranger Things went into like young parents.
I mean, even I listened to Achievement Hunter.
Oh yeah.
And Jeff Ramsey, he's a pretty like out there dad, I would say. And he still, his daughter will ask him to watch a show. He'll be like, "Oh, I'll watch it with you." And they were gonna watch You're the Worst from FX. Well, his daughter is 11, and she was like, "I want to watch You're the Worst. I've heard things about it." So him and the daughter sat down to watch it, and then he had to turn it off because he was like, "They're just banging so much in the whole episode," and I was like, "This is not good for you." And if him, what he says on a regular basis online in the videos, the way he talks, the way he even talks to his kid, because they both joke around with each other a lot on a lot of different stuff. It's like, and if he's saying no, and he's putting in the effort for his kids, like, why isn't anybody else doing this? But I don't know. I'm not a parent. I guess it's harder than it looks. Whatever. I don't care.
Well, I mean, yeah, I have nothing else to say about that because I'm not a parent either. I'm like,
Just get a better dog.
Oh my god.
If you don't know that, listen to Steven Suptic on his YouTube channel. You're welcome.
I was wondering when you were going to try to promote him.
Gosh, I love his content so much. He's so great. He's an inspiration. Steven S., if you're listening,
He probably
I want to
won't.
be part of the Sugar Pine 7 so bad.
He does. Like, really bad. He would drop everyone and just leave.
Okay, well, let's not get too crazy. But you're telling the truth. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, you can go on online, look for Stranger Games, play it as much as you want. From what I saw, it was free. So go play it. I'm going to go play it at some point here once I finally get some free time.
Next podcast, seriously, either one of us needs to review it. I know we brought it up, and not to bring it up again next podcast, but just a little bit, just to see how it is.
Yeah, definitely. So, but I can't wait till Stranger Things 2. Like, that comes out in October.
Excited. So
I'm a little disappointed because, I don't know, it's like such an enchanting story. And I guess I really was thinking maybe that they would get this one wrapped up in the first season. And then they would, like, the season 2 would just be a whole different thing. Like, it'd be a whole different thing with new different people, kind of like how True Detective is. Bad example because everybody hated season 2, including myself. It was terrible. But that show was way different, I think, because one guy wrote. It took one guy. Sorry, I don't know his name. It took that one guy like a couple of years to write that first season, and then once how everybody loved that first season, HBO was like, "We need to get a second season," and he was like, "I'll write it all myself." And he did it in a span of a couple of months. So it was doomed, I feel, to fail. I mean, I don't know. Also, I don't like Colin Farrell that much.
you don't?
No, he doesn't do too much for me. I mean, I watched Fright Night. Yeah, it was bad. So, I mean,
All movies.
I've never seen anything and was just like, I'm glad Colin Farrell was in there. But I don't ever really look at any movie and go, yeah, I'm glad this person is in it, unless it's Mark Wahlberg.
Oh my god. Is that why you're going to Wahlburgers this weekend?
'Cause I got good vibrations. It's just a sweet sensation. Yo, it's about that time to bring forth the rhythm and the rhyme. I'm gonna get mine, so get yours. I'm gonna see sweat coming out your pores. I'm gonna be first like sun kissed. Make me want to know who done this. Marky Mark, and he's come to fool you. Yeah. That's all I got.
Oh man. I'm impressed, but I'm not.
I got a different story to tell you about Mark Wahlberg and why I'm linked to him forever. To a group of 20 people. But that's for another day. So.
Oh, you're not gonna tell it?
No, definitely not. But
Podcast.
maybe if we can squeeze Mark Wahlberg in there.
We can squeeze him.
The Wahlberg. Anyways, So this is episode 5.
We're calling it 5.
All right, we're calling it 5, even though I think it's 5. Yeah, it's episode 5.
Yeah, because
it's episode 5. Last week was 4, and it was split up into 2.
Yep.
So this was episode 5 of Tell Me, Rune. Tell Me, Are You Not Entertained? We talked about Casting of JonBenet, now on Netflix, streamable on Netflix. We talked about Gorillaz' new album, Humanz, on Spotify, on iTunes, on YouTube, on other things.
Their official website, Gorillaz.com.
On Amazon. Why not Amazon?
Oh my God.
Again, not a sponsor, but why not Amazon? Why not us? And finally, we talked about Stranger Games, which you can play online. I don't know exactly where it's at, but definitely look it up. I typed it in 3 times, and if you type in Stranger Games on Google, it'll take you, the first link will take you straight to the game, and it looks fun. If you play it, if you watch Casting of JonBenet, if you listen to Gorillaz Humanz, if you play Stranger Games, make sure to tweet at us at Tell Me Rune. If you want to leave us if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment, like, subscribe, share, and you can also listen to us on iTunes at Tell Me Rune Podcast. This was fun.
Yeah.
Very, very focused and fun podcast. So, all right, let's just leave this. Yeah. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
All right,
completely.
All right. Until next time.